All right, today we got something a little different. Obviously, with the new MCR song coming out, I think it's time we revisit some of the MCR stuff from my old days. As I mentioned, MCR was a huge part of my YouTube channel's beginning, and I think we're going to give that some credit here by doing an album showdown where we face one album against another. So the way this works is we put one track, the first track, against the first track of the other album, and we see which one wins in a head-to-head. And whichever one comes on top more often, has a bigger number at the end, wins. It's obviously not a perfect formula, but hey, we try our best here. So both of the albums have a totally different outlook and goal of their production. So the production of Three Cheers is made to be this thrashy, energetic, kind of unhinged sound, where the goal of The Black Parade is to be grand, epic, and dark. And these two are not equal. So trying to compare them, obviously a little bit silly, but we're gonna do it anyways for fun, okay? I love both of these albums pretty much equally, so this is gonna be really close. So first we have The End versus Helena, or Helena. I'm still not sure how to say it to this day. So The End is a great song and it throws you off. I love how it has like this classic cadence of like a 50s doo-wop type song, but then out of nowhere it just explodes into chaos, giving you like a hint of what the rest of the album's gonna be like. And then on the other hand, we have Helena, which is kind of like a classic mid-2000s thrashy pop punk with a massive catchy chorus. And this one, I have to give the edge to Helena just because it's a little bit more catchy, it's a full song, and it's a little bit more classic and memorable in my mind. It's something that I've returned to more often, and I think it's a song that defined the era more than The End did, you know? Now, I also did not listen to MCR growing up as a youngling, so I'm not going to be marred with like a certain nostalgia for any of the tracks. So there are certain ones like Helena that I know that people are obsessed with because they grew up with it. It was like their soundtrack of their childhood or something like that. I'm just coming here as somebody who joined the fan group after they had stopped making music. Before, obviously, they just released more. Next is going to be Give 'Em Hell Kid from Three Cheers versus Dead from The Black Parade. So Dead is kind of like a, Gerard said something like it was supposed to be like Mr. Blue Sky. Silly, like, bouncy song, and it kind of is, but it has that super dark flair, obviously with the album's focus being death. So it takes that kind of bouncy rock formula with a lot of energy and passion and brings it into like a darker aesthetic, which is super cool. The outro is... There's so much energy in this song, but I have to give it to Give 'Em Hell Kid. This song is my go-to song when I'm working out. There's so many things, from the way that the guitar comes in like with these bending dissonant sounds, and then like the bass line is just so thrashy and catchy. Oh, and I love the grit on the mixing in this song. This song sucks me in, and it gives me so much energy every time I listen to it. Love this song. So that's 2-0 for Three Cheers. Next is going to be To the End versus This Is How I Disappear. The kind of like synth-like guitar that like bounces around during the verses in this song, To the End, is just amazing. Very similar to Give 'Em Hell Kid, but the super dissonant guitars, this song kind of feels almost like a part two to that one to me, albeit with a little bit lower energy level. One of the songs that I return to the most from this album, but I have to give this one. This song absolutely floors me. I've gone in and out with this song a little bit, of it being my top song on the album to being one that I return to less, but in the current state, there's almost nothing that MCR has ever done that rivals the bridge. And there's actually a lot of beautiful elements of this song too, a lot of melodic, harmonic parts, and it's something that I covered on this channel during my video called The Black Parade Experience. It was supposed to be like me talking about the experience going through the album and then covering the songs along the way, and I did that for like the first 3 songs, I think, on the album. Covering that song helped me realize how much of a masterpiece it is. It's something that I continually return to, and I respect the absolute passion that went into that song. It's something that I've been trying to work on when I'm writing my own music now. I always wanted to make sure I sounded like perfect when I did stuff, and instead now I'm trying to let the emotion type stuff come more through, and a lot of that has to do with MCR and the way they deliver their vocals and their guitar parts, so I can't not have that one win. So now it's 2-1. Black Parade's 1 behind. Now we have You Know What They Do to Guys Like Us in Prison versus The Sharpest Lives. You Know What They Do to Guys Like Us in Prison has been an inspiration for me for quite some time. If you've heard my song Wash the Blood on this channel, I'll link that as well if you're interested in hearing it. it was heavily inspired by You Know What They Do to Guys Like Us in Prison, from the bouncy guitar rhythms that kind of gives somewhat of like a Tim Burton feel to me, to then the unleashing during the chorus. Love all that stuff. The Sharpest Lives is kind of like a perfect alt-rock, darker, pop-punk, emo-ish sound, combining all these interesting elements with cool production. You have like the whispers coming in and out, very cool lyrics, epic sound, but a very straightforward song structure, which helps people. This is a song that I would be willing to show to almost anybody who likes rock, because it's very accessible, enjoyable, high energy, but it's still out there, and it gets kind of crazy at times too. Both of these songs have been inspirations to me, but I can't not go with You Know What They Do to Guys Like Us in Prison. This song, like I said, has been a huge inspiration in my personal style and how I write my music. Probably my favorite song on the entire album, so it has to win here, even though this really becomes splitting hairs because a lot of these songs are just so good. I think what sold me fully on this song is seeing the live performances where Gerard absolutely goes nutso mode at the end. It made me have like a renewed passion for live performance when you see him just unleash in those situations. And there's so much dynamics in this song, different sections. It's kind of like the Welcome to the Black Parade of this album because it's just so long, epic, diverse in all of the sounds that it gives. 3-1 for 3 cheers. This is looking rough so far. And now we have kind of the magnum opus of each album. We have Welcome to the Black Parade versus I'm Not Okay. And I'm going to spoil this one and say Welcome to the Black Parade is going to win this one. I think it has the merits to win purely on the iconic status that it has throughout the generations. Even now when, guitar's seeing a resurgence nowadays, but a few years ago, people would still be listening to this song as people who exclusively listen to rap music, and kind of holding that flame of rock alive was really important to me because I've been seeing it kind of like just disappear out of the pop cultural zeitgeist. And that's been kind of disappointing over the years. But again, having a song like this to turn to, which I think really unites so many people that enjoy so many different styles. It's kind of the Bohemian Rhapsody of our era, I would say. I can't really argue with that taking the slice of cake here, okay? Like, geez, you didn't have to go that hard, did you? Wonder what kind of cake Welcome to the Black Parade would be. I think it has to be chocolate, just to go with the dark stuff. Chocolate with chocolate and chocolate. It's not dark enough. We need to put mascara on the cake, I think. This is probably going to be one that inspires a lot of personal turmoil to have to fight between these two songs. But honestly, for me, this one wasn't too hard of a choice. Beyond the cultural component, Welcome to the Black Parade has so many different sections, again, like I said, of You Know What They Do to Guys Like Us in Prison, where it's almost just like impressive to think about, like how they managed to combine so many unique styles and make something so different. It doesn't sound like anything else I had ever heard, and it's so melodic, it inspires memories of Queen. I'm not going to say I'm Not Okay is a bad song by any means. It's just being compared to something that's very important and very genre defining, very generational defining. So, you know, it's okay to lose to something that epic, I think. So now we have I Don't Love You versus The Ghost of You. The Ghost of You kind of sees MCR in this lighter and, at least during the verses, lighter, more delicate, more beautiful and melodic sound, especially for 3 Cheers, something that isn't as prevalent on that album. It's very smooth. The delivery is legato and you just sink deep into this groove. I Don't Love You is a emotional gut punch based on the lyrics and delivery of Gerard. It's somewhat of a love ballad. Both of these songs fill like this very different sounding void for the album. It's very poetic, I guess, that these two are pitted against each other. But I have to go with The Ghost of You. This song, oh my gosh, it covers every single base that I want in a fantastic song. It covers multiple different styles within one song, which is pretty cool, going from this groovy sound to this epic, dark, bombastic sound of the chorus. And the transition is just so seamless. The lyrics just grip you so gutturally, and Gerard's performance is unmatched. So Ghost of You takes this one. Next is the Jet Set Life versus House of Wolves. Now, I know a lot of people who are not necessarily massive fans of House of Wolves, but I have to say personally that the swing style mixed with this metal, just unhinged sound is something right up my alley. And again, MCR does this quite often, but this seems to lean into like this Tim Burton influence almost, but twisting it even more. And I can't get enough of it. The Jet Set Life is a good song. It's not my favorite on Three Cheers, and House of Wolves has been one that again has influenced my own style and taught me what is possible to do with music and genre blending. And the bridge is again something that I will never forget. That the song is so catchy. I love when the song hits and comes in. The bass line is so catchy. Gerard's delivery, again, perfect. I feel like I'm repeating myself in some of these, but these songs are so consistently good for a lot of similar reasons that it's hard to not. Next is one that's kind of rough because it's Cancer versus Interlude. Now, Three Cheers has one less song on the album, so I had to cut Blood from the listing. But even one of the songs that Three Cheers does have is just an interlude. It's a good interlude, but it's not a full-fledged MCR song, so it's hard to compare. I was thinking of removing interlude and removing the end and seeing how stuff matched up that way, but the end feels fully fleshed out enough, and I just couldn't find myself removing that. With all that said, interlude is great. It actually reminds me of Radiohead, which is really weird. Comparing MCR and Radiohead just feels like a very strange combo, but obviously Cancer has to win here. I don't think there's been a song that has hit me more emotionally in a somewhat negative way as well, ever. Anybody who has any connection with Cancer, this song is going to be very hard to listen to. I believe this song is the one that Gerard said he is most proud that he ever wrote, and the band generally speaking. It's a very short song, but it packs such a heavy weight, even more so than their heaviest songs. I guess the lyrics are just kind of raw, and the production is just enough. The song goes just enough. It knows exactly when to go in and when to pull back. It gets loud enough. The chord progression is beautiful. The melody hurts to listen to. It's so emotional. So we are officially all tied up, 4-4. Mama versus Thank You for the Venom. So I think the main reason I ended up being an MCR fan was basically I was going through Spotify and I was like, I want some new music. I've listened to a lot of the same stuff lately. And I heard about MCR. I was like, you know what? Everyone talks about this band. Let me just look at their list. And I think at the time, Mama was within the top 10. And I ended up clicking on it. And I was instantly sold. Once you start screaming like this, you got me on board. Yeah, this is how I dance now. Mama got me feeling all kinds of... That sounds really weird out of context. I just got that. Not like this is going to be on the internet or anything. It's fine. It's just between me and you. I don't know what's happening right now, man. I just work here. Mama's a really good song. Everything I've said about Welcome to the Black Parade, I could also pretty much apply to Mama, minus the cultural component. I actually think this song is more amazingly written than Welcome to the Black Parade. Personally, this is my favorite song on the album. So Thank You for the Venom can't win in this case because it's like the best song on all of the Black Parade, which is one of the best albums ever. Obviously, you gotta mention the riff from Thank You for the Venom. One of the most impressive riffs they've ever written, and something that I wanted to learn but gave up on because it was hard. I'd have to spend a lot of time on that, and then I wouldn't be able to make videos like this for you. The sacrifices I'm making for society at large. The world wouldn't be the same without this content. That's what I always say, at least. I've never said that. I don't know why I said that. I always say that. Okay, I'm getting distracted. Do I have problems? Yeah, don't answer that, okay? I already know the answer. Black Parade takes the lead. Yes! Woo! Why am I rooting for the Black Parade? There's no reason to. I just did. Next is Sleep versus Hang 'em High. Hang 'em High is super unique. It actually starts like this Western sound, and the title actually implies that it's gonna be like this Western sound, but then it goes into the typical sound of the album. So Hang 'em High is pretty awesome, pretty great song, but as you probably noticed when I was reacting to the new MCR song the other day, Sleep was mentioned multiple times, and that's because Sleep is a very, 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 very good song, and I have to put that one above here. It kind of covers similar ground as Mama in terms of its structure and the way the outro is designed to be this grand epic thing, but I think the thing that sold me on this one was just hearing him scream wake up through the cacophony of sound trying to be heard. Something about that moment emotionally just hits more than typical heavy songs do. and it's one of my favorite moments of the entire album. I also love that they actually utilize like that weird sample and as well an acoustic guitar during the verses. It creates some change ups without ruining, I guess, the cohesiveness of the album. Teenagers versus It's Not a Fashion Statement, It's a Death Wish. Teenagers is so weird in this album. I guess if I think objectively, it kind of feels like the sound does not fit in the album. But if I just let myself sit there and listen to the song, I can find myself getting absorbed into it to the point where everything is melding together with the other songs. Like, it logically doesn't work, but experientially, it kind of does. Again, this is one of those songs that's like really easy to share with people because it kind of has a universal appeal. The kind of southern sound that they go for, I'm so glad they went for it with this ambitious change up. And the guitar work specifically on the song is really impressive. The way that they're able to swap up their guitar playing styles so massively just for different songs to call for different genre blends. Really impressive. But I have to go with It's Not a Fashion Statement, It's a Death Wish. This is one of the ones that's like kind of like a staple sound. It kind of gathers like that essence of the Three Cheers era and just boils it down into a song. You just take little drops, put little drops of emo sounds in there. It fits in perfectly, man. This type of sound is definitely not for everyone, but again, it goes into that thrashy type of sound towards the end. It's very dramatic in his delivery, very like almost whiny in like places like the intro, but I'm like all here for that. I love that, but I know that not everyone does. But that's what makes me kind of love it, because they're so ambitious with their delivery. They just totally go for it. They don't give a crap what you think. They're like, we're gonna scream our brains out, and if you hate it, too bad. And I like that. Next, we have Disenchanted versus Cemetery Drive, and I'm gonna be honest, these are probably might be my two least favorite songs on each album. Not to say that I dislike either one. I still would give these a positive rating and review, but they're not ones that I am particularly drawn to. So I would probably have to say Disenchanted comes out on top just for being a more, I guess it's a more compelling song overall. Cemetery Drive has some really unique elements, I guess, which could lead it to go above for some people because of those creative elements where they kind of experiment a little with like these shuffly sounds. And I really did enjoy those. But again, these are not songs that I specifically will return to too often, so I'm not going to give too strong of an opinion, but I'll just say Disenchanted lands on top for now. And for the last battle, we have Famous Last Words versus I Never Told You What I Do for a Living. One of the things that really drew me to I Never Told You What I Do for a Living is the way that they're able to seamlessly pass back and forth between thrashy and crazy melodic. The song is very catchy, and it does really wrap up the album perfectly with this epic sound that's also like super beautiful at moments. And the contrast of those two really just draws me in. I can't help it. Then you have Famous Last Words, which is such an inspiring outro to such a dark album. Words that have probably kept people going in their darkest times, and fantastic guitar work, epic delivery. At times, these two have gone back and forth. I actually, it was hard for me to figure out which one to put on top for now. Famous Last Words was a really fun song to learn on guitar as well. Very easy song to play generally. My camera stopped mid-sentence. It was a really fun song to play on guitar generally, and picking between these two is really tough, but I guess I have to say for the position I am in right now, I gotta go with Three Cheers. I Never Told You What I Do for a Living. It feels more of a masterclass in songwriting in some ways, I guess, where Famous Last Words just seems like almost like a perfect song. So it's hard to, one is a little bit more artsy, I guess, and one is a little bit more anthemic. And those are two hard things to quantify and value against each other, like I said, which is why doing these rankings can be like arbitrary in some ways. It's like, does it really matter? Like, they're both pretty much the same, but for now, Three Cheers. So where does that put the albums overall? Well, if you tallied up the scores, if you were paying attention, that places the Black Parade at 7 and Three Cheers at 6. So for now, the Black Parade wins. And I would say that generally over my lifetime, I probably would have placed the Black Parade over Three Cheers. It's hard to say though, man, because it really does go back and forth depending on what kind of mood I'm in. So, but thank you so much for being here on this journey with me. I'm going to link all my MCR stuff if you guys are interested in looking back at my content from years ago where I was doing more MCR content. You can check that out if you'd like. I wrote songs in the styles of both of these albums, the Three Cheers and the Black Parade. The Three Cheers one's probably a little bit better, I'm guessing, because that one came out years later, so I got better at stuff. But thank you so much for being here on this ride with me, and hope you guys have a great day. Peace.